Welcome to episode 4 of the Bear Tiger Club podcast. Quite an exciting one with the Open Championship having just finished. And we've got nearly the full squad. We're missing Big Nige, who will be a huge loss this week, but we're joined by Josh White.
Hi guys. Good, mate. Good. Happy birthday for yesterday, pal.
Yeah, cheers, mate. That's going under the radar. Mark Raven. Haven't seen you for a couple of weeks, Mark. How have you been?
No, great to be back. I mean, it's mixed reviews on the last 2 weeks, some good, some bad, but yeah, right. Good to be back on the show.
Decent. And
Happy
JS
birthday again for
NFT.
yesterday.
Thanks, mate. Let's just get that out. We've all done that now, right? And and JS NFT. How are you, mate?
All good, bud. All good. Yeah, thank you.
So just a quick apologies to the listeners, just for the sound quality. We're obviously, with it all being different venues this week, I'm still up here at St Andrews. We've had to do this bit ad hoc and for a new system, but we're here to talk about all the good stuff. We'll get on to the exciting part, which is the Open Championship, in just a second. Just in our week and our lead up to it, Josh and I came up early, spent Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday up here, very close to the Open venue, up at the Fairmont at St Andrews, up at the Jay Lindeberg event that they had. And we had a couple of special guests. We had Robbie Williams launch his new collection, and Victor Hovland stopped by to chip it straight over the green in our little party hosting. How was it for you, Joshua?
Yeah, it was good, mate, wasn't it? We had a good drive up. It was great for me. You doing all the driving and me just sitting in a passenger seat the whole way, which was pretty cool. And then we got there, didn't we? And we was glamping, which was
on the way up. We found what I think was probably the best service station nicest service station I've ever been to.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever come out of a service station and we've had all the curd dried meat all cut for us perfectly for a little treat and stuff like that.
Oh, the fresh cakes and all that sort of stuff. It's amazing, wasn't it? It was so good. And then so we kind of got here. And then the glamping experience was my first glamping experience. How was it for you?
Yeah, it was good for me. I had the single bed, and even if I rolled over, I sort of scraped my nose on the tent. But it was decent, to be fair. It was a bit cold in the evenings, wasn't it? I was a bit under the covers like a fetus, but it was all right. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it's a little bit festival vibes, but it was really cool. I obviously got to hang out with some really cool people like within the golfing industry, and it was really a hit home of where the golfing industry is right now. It's got some, whether it be like lifestyle fashion and good golfers and hobby golfers. It really came through, and then getting to host Robbie Williams was quite an experience. He was It was a cool guy, actually. I think everything that goes around those superstars, it's all Robbie's coming quick. Like, everyone's got to leave this area. All that nonsense goes on, and when he arrives, he was just a normal bloke, right?
Yeah, exactly that. And to be fair, it was really cool watching you host that evening with them at that party. And like you say, he really was just a genuine guy. Like, just sitting there, like talking to him on the chipping green and stuff like that. It was just like talking to one of your pals, really. He was a really nice guy. And then you calling me up in the chipping challenge out of everyone that's there. I've already like 3 or 4 beers deep, got my sunnies on, got my hat back to front or whatever, and then Zane's like, "Yeah, Josh, you do it." So I appreciate that, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, no problems. Yeah, kind of just setting the scene. We had Victor and Robbie Williams on the chipping green in front of about 120 people, and to be fair, their chipping was pretty shocking. We know Victor doesn't like shots around the greens too much, so much so that beforehand I thought he'd probably be a bit nervous doing this. And I've been up and hit a couple of chips onto the green we were going to use. So when I chatted to him before going up, because you kind of chat to him about what questions you're going to have, and I said to him, "Right, Victor, by the way, it's downwind, it's rock hard, and it's really fast. I've hit a couple of chips. You just got to bump it short and it trickles up. Don't give it the big one." And so obviously we were up there chatting, and then said to Victor, bigged him up, world-class players, got a good chance at the Open this week. Show us what you got around the greens. And lo and behold, just de-greens it straight over the green. Didn't even hear it. It was like, oh, Jesus.
Did you Did you
So then we
scout it,
had
John?
to get Robbie Williams, and Robbie Williams actually played a couple of good shots, and then it was like, this is getting awkward now because everyone's like missing the green, not getting inside 20 feet. So got to call Josh up, and where did your ball even end up?
It was just on the back edge of the green. To be fair, that was absolutely rapid. I landed it just short. I was happy to just get a strike on it, to be honest. I was a bit nervous. I landed it.
A bit clunky.
Yeah, it was a little bit clunky. Got it, landed it just short of the green, and then it sort of rolled up to the back edge, and I don't know, maybe 15 feet away or something. But it was seriously quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
I think
pretty rapid.
Robbie Williams hit the best shots. He was just hitting these really low sort of chip and runs, pitching it probably 3 foot in front of him. Like you said, tricking it up there, and he hit the closest one.
Yeah, he did knife a couple. We was hit a couple of shockers. Put on a very good party. So big up to Jack, Norman, and the boys at jail for that. But anyway, moving on to the big event this week, the Open Championship. I'm presuming you guys all watched it wall to wall and had the full rundown. Obviously, I was out on the course, but what was it like, James? What was it like watching it on the telly?
Well, I think obviously the Thursday, everyone was kind of inevitably sort of seeing that it was a much faster version of St Andrews than we've seen historically. So, with Bryson hitting like a 300-yard 6-iron in practice on Wednesday was nuts. And there was just a lot going into it. I think quite early on, the groups that were, I believe, earlier starters on Thursday and afternoon starters on Friday were perceived that they had the better side of the draw on the weather. And I think everyone but DJ actually was on that side of the draw come Sunday afternoon. And for me, really, Thursday was all about Tiger. It was the long-awaited thing to see how he was going to get on. And it looked like he'd ripped a stinger off the first, and inevitably that was his bad luck. I think he's the only person I saw who hit a tee shot down one who ended up in the front of a divot. And those, you probably know better than I do, because it gets so burnt out on links courses. You get those really sandy lies that even if you strike it, they can come out so dead. And he had about a 90-yard pitch shot, and it looked like it went 50 yards. So, and I think when they replayed it in slow-mo, he really struck the shot. It just came out of that thing like a puff of powder sort of thing. And it was unfortunate, wasn't it? I know he shot 9 over for 2 rounds, but it just looked like he lipped out 7 or 8 times, and he just had no luck all week. But it was an incredible Open Championship. I know why it's your favourite Open. Everything that happened over the weekend with Victor and Rory playing so well Saturday, and then that penultimate group on Sunday, 15 under par, it was almost like Phil and Henrik back at it again. Those guys just going head to head. And Cam Smith's putting backside yesterday afternoon was just mental. I mean, he must have held 150 feet of putts yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, if we just kind of just stay on the first couple of rounds for the beginning here. Mark, did you get to see any of the first 2 rounds? Obviously, we've got some exciting news and a little chat to do with Mark about him and Tiger are basically besties now. I've spent a couple of days together at the JP McManus program, which we'll get to on another chat. But did you get to kind of see any of Tiger's first couple of days play?
Yeah, I did. I got to see a bit. I just thought it was a shame, like he was definitely playing better than that, even though his scores at the JP didn't necessarily reflect too much better. But I have to say I was absolutely amazed given the amount of walking that he'd done between the JP and the beginning of the Open. I was amazed to see how well he was actually moving throughout Thursday, Friday. So that was really encouraging, actually, if you take his performance side out of things and just look at the physical element. I'd have to say, yeah, that's encouraging for him. I know it's flat, but he'd done a lot, way more reps in terms of walking than he'd done prior to the JP and at the JP, because he was in a buggy the whole time. In terms of
it was a bit weird that he played so much during the week. I found that strange. He went up to Ireland and played with Rory, then he walked around the course.
Yeah, for me, I was really surprised to see, especially the Open week where it was covered from Sunday all the way through. Every time I saw him and them covering that, I was just like, wow, I just didn't see that for him in his preparation at all. But that for him, I think, had to be the massive pull from the whole week, is how well that clearly went. And yeah, as we know, he, like James said, he struggled a bit on the golf course. It was a bit of a shame because that wasn't representative of what I certainly saw in the build-up to the Open week itself. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I followed him. We were on his group, so I was in the on-course comms for the BBC radio. And so the second day, every night you get like a call sheet of those 4 different pairings, and then you see which pairings you get. And you're always going to get good ones, but obviously you wanted to get Tiger, and we got Tiger in the second round, and he actually played quite nicely. In the first round, I was in the group ahead of him, so I got to the group behind. So you kind of walk up ahead of your group, which meant we were basically side by side with Tiger the whole way. And you know what? I think that was about as cold as I've ever seen him with a putter. He played much better than he scored. Obviously got off that terrible start, like James said. You know, couldn't have gone any worse, really. Got 4 over really, really quickly. But his game was actually quite good once he got going. I've never seen Tiger miss kind of so many putts, which can happen. But it was, did you guys, Josh, did you get to see him walk up 18 on the TV? And how did that come across? Did you?
Yeah. Like you said, we was sort of running down the side, just trying to get a little bit further up, and I managed to get right in line with the bridge to see him go over, just in case he did stop. And as no one really knew if it was going to be his last hurrah or anything like that. But like we said, we don't think he can actually go out with himself having missing the cut or put that performance in. So I was quite lucky enough anyway to be right on line, and it was actually quite emotional. There's things with Tiger in iconic moments. So the only times in my life I think I actually cry. But it was just pretty cool. And then seeing Rory on the other side of the fairway going down the first, just turning around, taking it all in, stopping, and watching him was that was really cool. And like you said, I see you put a post out yourself on your socials with like the passing over, the changing of the guard with Rory and Tiger, and that would have been a perfect fit, I think, if that would have happened, if he would have won. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, being there for a moment on the 18 was just like, it was amazing, really. Like, we were trying to cover it in the broadcast, and you couldn't help with, you know, wasn't even trying to build it up. It was like a real moment of like, it was a magical moment of watching Tiger go across the bridge, to which, interestingly enough, he didn't stop and did a wave on the bridge, which may be somewhat telling. He did proceed to just wander over the bridge and, without stopping, and wave to everybody. Whereas normally the ceremonial, this is my last time, it's like a stop and wave. So that was quite interesting. But then after that, you know, just kind of going up there and the scene and the standing ovation that he got, you know, it was real hairs on the back of the neck, standing up kind of stuff. And then having to, you know, kind of fill the listeners in on that. And when they cut to you, you almost feel your voice breaking. And it wasn't like a put on, like trying to build up a story. It was just a big moment. And as you say, like the players teeing off on the other side, like Hovland and Lowry and McIlroy walking backwards down the fairway, watching him putt. It was just like an amazing moment. And you know, obviously the RNA did a really good job of timing it for Tiger to finish, putting out, and then have Rory teeing off at the same time. It was just, you know, obviously that didn't happen by accident. It was just an amazing.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Do you actually think that was intentional?
Yeah, 100%. It was 100%, and the whole thing of Tiger like kind of hobbling up 18, and then Rory like bounding down 18. It was like a real moment, which probably brings us into the piece we should start chatting about, which was, you know, I thought Rory was going to do it, but what a champion we've had in Cam Smith. A bit, you know, we got a long way into this pub, not even mentioned his name yet. Cameron Smith, that was some win on that back nine. James, you touched on it a bit earlier. Have you seen a better back nine than that in a major championship?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know that he's a good putter. I think a lot of people talk about Cantlay as the best putter on tour, but I think this guy rivals him properly. I mean, under the gun, he looks electric from 15 to 20 feet, and those 4 in a row, he was just holding 18, 20 footers, but he's like walking them in, you know, and they just, as soon as they came off the blade, they just looked so good. I mean, not taking anything away from the fact he swung it great, because I think he put the ball in the right. Oh, you'll know with St Andrews there, the greens are like, some of them are like 100 yards long and wide, right? Because there's so many double greens there. But he knew exactly where to put the ball on the hole to give him the least amount of break and the flattest putt as well. I think his approach play was great, but it was just a proper exhibition of golf, you know. And he's had 2 64s in the week. To think that he shot one over round 3 and still shoot 20 under par for 4 rounds is quite surreal. So a really incredible champion, probably quite fitting. Australians historically quite good at links golf as well, from the way they play on burnt courses. And Also, not to take anything away from the other Cameron, who's not won on tour before, and to probably shoot 7 under on a major Sunday and be in the penultimate group and think he's not won is quite mental. I don't know what this guy think he needs to do to win, but
yeah, the Camerons had a real good battle, didn't they, those 2 days? And obviously with Smith coming out on top, we followed him on that. It was my group on the Saturday, and where you said there he shot a 73, which completely wasn't telling of how he played. Like, weirdly enough, he was just cold with a putter. I think he had 36 putts on the Saturday. He was stone cold, and he wasn't hitting bad putts; they just weren't going in. And also on top of that, every time he hit good shots. He was himself in like some of the worst spots, like real hard areas around the greens on the misses, and he just played some majestic short game shots, which he just makes some shots around the green.
Yeah,
which is so hard. He just like, there's no indecision. He just walks up, and the wedge comes out, or the 9-9 comes out, or the putter comes out. There's no indecision. The first comeback comes out. There's a couple of practice swings. He's seen it, and he executes it. He executes it so well, and obviously that all kind of culminated when he got to 17. 17 was an interesting one. We played a great drive. He's one ahead, and he's pulled his second shot left. Really, really lucky not to go in the road hole bunker. We sat on 17 all morning yesterday, and that thing was just sucking balls in. And not what I think we watched 7 people go in that bunker, and not one person got up and down. And there was probably two more doubles. Rob Dinwiddie hit a lovely shot out to about 3-4 feet. Actually, he hit the best shot. I missed it, annoyingly. One of our pals, who we'll get on at some point to have him chat about it. But yeah, and Cam Smith, he got lucky not to go in the bunker. Putted up around the bunker again, took no time, but made that look really easy. But if you underhit that thing rolls back into the bunker, and then you've lost the open, and then obviously just can that 10-footer like ice.
I mean, that was nuts. When he stepped up to that 10-footer, I think you're right. I mean, he's literally run that putt alongside the edge of 17. For those that didn't see it, it was about 4 inches away from the lip. That's how kind of close it was. And it's obviously cambered around. And then he trusts his stroke so much that he's got a 10-footer. Like you said, it was like Iceman. He just trotted up to it, tucked it in, and just got on the tee and rips it onto the green as well, which, yeah, it was just proper remarkable.
It was good, wasn't it? Really good. Hey, Mark,
Yeah.
do you what do you know of? Have you seen much of Cam Smith's game?
Just really, as he's been climbing in performance, I've seen more and more of him. But I tell you, that's a brand of golfer I could watch all day, every day. Like we've spoken in previous podcasts about pace of play and the way the game of golf is going, depending on what tour, blah blah blah. But this kid is just great to watch. I mean, he is just like you've been saying, just gets up to the ball, makes a decision, bang, and every single shot appears to be like his finish position. Is completely committed. There's no faffing about. I have to say, I think he's a great player and someone that I would take the time to watch, or if it's on TV, I wouldn't mind watching at all. And also, just for James must absolutely love his putter. His putter is filth, like all stealth. Cameron, like it's just absolutely mega.
His whole bag's stealth. He's up to driver. He's stealthed his entire bag.
Yeah.
It's Tiger. Don't worry. It's just Tiger.
Yeah,
just checking in.
Tiger's cool. Text him back. Say you're busy.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of his. Like, obviously, I was pulling for Rory. I was gutted it didn't work out for him. But you don't feel so bad when someone like Cameron Smith, who's a great player, just goes out and just bang does it. Like
Because I just think that like as you said there, like his brand of golf is so good. But I think his brand in general, because there was a feeling up here of disappointment yesterday. But it didn't feel quite a Stuart Sink, Tom Watson Open, where he became like the real villain, because obviously Cam Smith is a completely different dynamic with Cam Smith, because he's younger and he's got more about him. But I think his whole brand of like the mullet, the mustache, just like cutting about, super chill, cool dude, and then does that in his golf as well. But I thought this last round was like a real coming of age in all that. It was the first time we've seen a bit more of a serious side, as in like he just didn't make that stupid move. He's made stupid moves in the past. Like when he won the Players, he did a chip out, a hook chip out to a right to left slope, which was always going to end up in the water, and then had the brilliance to get up and down to get him out to still win the tournament. But it was just just like a ridiculous situation. And he did it earlier on in the year, which made did a chip out of bounds. And then at the Masters, just made birdie on 11 in the last round, and then goes at the pin on 12. And we're like, everybody knows that no one goes for the pin at 12. But he never had that foot off the pedal stage. And then in the third round here on 13, he hit it. I don't know if you guys saw it. Did any of you guys see the 13th hole? He made a complete mess of it. He basically hit it left. He was outside the bunker, but standing in the bunker. The ball was knee height, and there's bushes and kind of scrappy, long grass, short and left of the hole. Had about 170 yards, and it's just chip it sideways, knock it on, have a putt for par, make bogey. And he gets in there, and he gets 6-iron out, and he's right down to the shaft, and he kind of fats it into the heather, into the crap. Then he can't advance it down to the green, and it was just like, I was commentating on it, and I was just like, you don't want to cane players, but at this point I was just like on edge, like, what is he doing? This is just a terrible, terrible decision. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting away with double bogey, and you're like, why is he doing that? But then yesterday we just saw a slightly different Cam Smith, where he just got to 16 and he just got the iron out, and he just knew, I'm going to put this in the fairway. I'm not taking it down the out of bounds, down the right-hand side. I'm going to take on medicine and play it that way. And I thought it was a bit of a coming age yesterday. It was almost as if, like, finally, or maybe his caddy just went to him, mate, don't fuck this up.
Yeah, you're going to listen to me this time. Because it's so easy not to listen to a caddy when you're in that situation and you're coming down a stretch, isn't it? When you feel like you've done all the work, and you've got to remember they're the ones that helped you get there in a way, and to listen. But,
it's felt like this has been a long time in the making, Josh, as well. Didn't you think? I mean, you and I sat on the range at the Masters. I know you love watching people prep on the Thursday, and he was amongst the most impressive on the range by quite some distance. And
he was. I touched on that earlier in the week with Zane. I said, we was actually talking about it. I was like, it's unbelievable. Like, some of these guys, like, they say they're not good hitters, but they have to be to a certain standard to be at that level. Like, and he was so precise, and he just didn't miss the middle of the face. And people think he doesn't hit it a long way, but links golf was perfect for him because he gets so much groundwork, doesn't he? Like, he gets so much run. He hits this sort of like knuckleball, and it just goes and goes. So he ends up being one. I would say, would you say one of the longest? I don't know, it wouldn't be one of the longest, but he's definitely not one of the shortest.
He was hitting greens yesterday when guys like Rory weren't.
Yeah. Well, there you go. He's got the ball flight for it. And then with his pace putting, like we said, we touched on the last pod, didn't we? Our favourites and picks and stuff like that. And I was talking about the best pace putter. And like, even that putt he hit on the last and 17, his pace was just out of this world. It's so much easier to threaten the hole when your pace is bang on. And he was a disgrace with that thing. Literally.
Yeah. And he moves to number 2 in the world now. I mean, he's only within 1.5 points of Scheffler. I mean, I actually think that Masters, I mean, he started with double at the Masters, didn't he? He shot 7 under first round. I think he went 9 under the next 17 holes. He can go really deep, Zane, can't he? Obviously 2 8-unders this week as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. I mean, that was it really, to come out and shoot 8 under twice. Because really, I mean, Tiger kind of said earlier in the week, didn't he? So whoever gets to 19 wins it, as is. It shows you, if Tiger says that, as is, him getting to 20, it just shows you how good that is, and shows how good those guys are behind him, which is mad, really. Get to 20 under par. But I mean, that is a little bit flattering at St Andrews because of the wind direction. Par is not really the thing; it's more the amount of shots, because we all know, depending on the wind direction, different holes are drivable. So and therefore, and you can't. That's why you can't change it, because you get one wind direction, you can drive 10 really easily. You can drive. They'll be getting on 7, amazingly. But then when it's the other way around, you know, you got something different prospect. You're able to drive 9 easily. You get 14s are driving a wedge, 16s are driving a chip. You know, there's other holes which become 12 becomes really drivable. So I think scores apart, St Andrews are a little bit flattering. Essentially, it's probably more like a par 70. But depending on the wind, you can't say which hole should be a par 4, but what should be a par 5 or par 3. From day to day, you can't switch it around. But even so, it's an interesting course also because you can smash it miles down those holes, but still have no shot. It's still hard work. You know, it's still quite stressful, which was really great to see close up. It's the imagination that everyone goes, it goes one-dimensional and so forth, but you should have seen quality of some of the shots that they played, like following DJ and Fleetwood, essentially ended up out of the mix. Both finished, I think, top 6. Really good week for Fleetwood, which was nice to see, because on the Tuesday night we had his caddy Finno come to the JL party for a few drinks, and he was waxing lyrical about how good Tommy was playing, and then to see him finish top 5, that was pretty cool. What a nice guy he is, by the way, and he said he's going to come on the pod for us.
He did.
That was pretty cool.
But how about that story he said about the JP McManus Pro-Am? And Tommy said to him, are you going to caddy for me? And he said, me coming to help, caddy for you there, is that going to help you win the Open? And he was like, no. So he went to the Open early and walked the course the whole week to get a bit of extra prep in, and obviously paid off as well.
He's a really impressive guy, isn't he?
What a classy guy! Yeah, he just have that foresight. He could have gone, I'll come over to JP McManus for the jolly up, see if I can nick a little goodie bag,
give him
a watch, all that sort of stuff. But he's committed to the cause, and I mean, we stood with him. Everyone's socialising, and all he's actually doing is talking about Tommy and his golf. And you just think the amount of shots he's seen that guy hit over the years, and he's just got a guy on his side there. Even following his group yesterday, Tommy played lovely. Hit a lot of good putts, just missing. He could have gone really deep yesterday.
Yeah, and every time
it missed, Finno, you can look at Finno, and he's just like, he's more gutted than Tommy that didn't drop in. You know, that intensity, I just thought, what a guy to have on your bag.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick.
Do you mind if I start like a little debate? Because I'm a man for a stat, and I just want to. I've been looking at this ever since the end of yesterday.
I didn't see any left-handers, mate. Sorry. You're still the fourth best left-hander I know.
Thank you. I'm going down the table as well. Cheers. I'm still a little bit on the fence as to whether or not I thought Cam Smith won it yesterday or whether Rory lost it. And I just wanted to know what the guys thought, because, Rory, I can't compute a one putt that he had yesterday throughout his round. I think there was the 2 birdies that he made, he 2-putted 5, and I'm not sure if he was on the fringe or if he was on the green or not, but he hit
every green,
10.
didn't he? Every green, 2-putt birdies, 36 putts.
15 of the top 20 players shot 4 under or better yesterday. 17 shot 3 under or better. Only him, Victor, and one other. Siwoo Kim, I believe it was. And it was just like, obviously he's had a phenomenal week, shot 18 under par, but is there a slight feeling yesterday that he didn't do enough, even from, having a 4-shot lead or tied for the lead with Victor?
Well, the general consensus, there was a couple of things, really. I think actually his driving was just a joke all week. I saw him one of the rounds. I chatted to Matt Southgate, who followed him for much of his first 2 rounds. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but when Rory holds that bunker shot, there's a piece of commentary by Matt Southgate going absolutely mental down the airwaves, which is worth finding on Twitter. It's absolutely fantastic piece. And he said he'd hit one slightly loose drive in the first 2 days. I watched him, he didn't. And then I chatted to Graham Storm yesterday. And Graham Storm said he just hit the driver unbelievable. His approach play wasn't amazing yesterday. Didn't hit it close enough. You can lean on his putting, but was he close enough? Probably not. Then chatting to Ian Carter, who's like the BBC golf correspondent, who followed him shot for shot yesterday, and I thought this would be the case, and he kind of confirmed it. He said the feeling was, if I beat Victor, who I'm playing alongside, I'm going to win this, because there was a gap between them and the Camerons, and he didn't look at any leaderboards for the front 9. Obviously didn't go off to a great start, but he was getting ahead of Victor. Probably would have heard a few cheers up ahead, and then didn't look at the leaderboard on 13. There's no leaderboard on 14, to which he made par. And then on 15, he took a long look at the leaderboard, and Ian Carter said you could see on his face, it was a real like, oh shit, I've been caught by somewhere else. And I just think, I think that there was a little bit of Victor playing poorly, or scoring poorly, like didn't do him any favours because he didn't have to get going. And let's face it, he would have birdied the last.
Yeah.
He not had to make eagle. He was on the front, Rory came third. I'm not buying into that. Like he didn't win it. He didn't go out and didn't win it. But I think he would have shot 69 in the last round. So for me, I don't think he lost it. I think if someone shoots 8 under in the last round of the Open Championship, they've won it basically. Like Rory would have got to 19 under had he had to on the last there. Really, I mean, he was going for the chip, and that happened. Cam Young was slightly out of contention, wasn't he? Amazing tour on the last hole to get to 19 under. But Rory, he didn't lose it for me. I think Cam Smith just shot 8 under par.
And to be fair, it's not always have to be on the last day. It's 4 rounds. And you've got to think how he would have had shots and hole putts to be in that position from the first 3 rounds. It just happens on the last round that he was in a slightly different situation. And he's still, like we said, I totally agree with you, Zed. He would have shot 3 under, even though he didn't, whatever else. So to go out with that many shots lead and actually to still shoot that score, it's still seriously good, isn't it?
And I think that, like Zane was saying, how it worked with Rory and Victor, I think it works the other way as well. I think Cam Smith, once he birdies birdies 10 and 11, he's looking at the board. He knows that Rory's not making a move, that he's probably just settled, like you were saying, keeping his eyes on Hovland, and he's just gone, no, I'm going for it, and he took it. Like Cameron Smith 100% has won that, but he's also been clever in the fact that he's just kept his foot down. He's kept one eye over his back, and he's just said, well, look, is he coming? Is he coming? Like, I'm going to push. And as you say, Rory saw it too late, but Cam Smith knew exactly what he was doing when he pushed around 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Like, that was absolutely money. Like, he's gone out, he's won that. And yeah, Rory, for me, like, he didn't lose it. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, and this is so different to the narrative of Rory having losing events over the last couple of years. He has lost events. He's messed up coming in. He didn't mess up coming in. He didn't make any mistakes yesterday. Things didn't go his way for whatever reason. But he didn't make the mistake. Didn't drop shots on the way in. And he's been under it. This doesn't fill into the whole Rory in the past. He's kind of backdoor top 5. Like, he's been there all week on this one and carried it. And he did look different. I mean, it will hurt, won't it? But it did look like a very different Rory this week to what we've seen over the last couple of years. James got something to say.
Well, I'm a little bit on the fence. I thought Cam Smith's display puts Rory in the predicament, and I appreciate, even if you take Cam Smith out of it and Cameron Young goes and has that round of golf, Rory has to make birdie up the last to make a playoff, but I still believe he should have played well enough to make a playoff at 20 under. I know it's difficult to say because it's a record-breaking score, but the conditions around St Andrews this week were so playable for deep numbers. If I was assessing that, you'd have seen an 8 under from Sam Burns before Rory even got changed out of his gym wear. So we know that there would have been low ones out there today. That was a top 20 ranked player in the world, stacked leaderboard come Sunday afternoon. So you knew there were class acts around you. In all the groups, in the last 4 or 5 groups, there were proper players who could go and put big numbers up. And to sort of say, I didn't look at a leaderboard until 15, knowing that Victor was 1 over, you'd know the standard scratch around that course was 3-4 under par that week. So I just think there's an element of naivety there. Paul McGinley was a little bit off with Rory, I found, in his interview when he was talking to...
He's always off with him.
I know he is, yeah. But... I wrote his quote down because I found it was probably actually a little bit, I thought it was probably about insincere, but he said, Rory's not won a major for 8 years, but in the story of Cam Smith, it's not just the putting or the driving or the iron play, he actually has the real competitive spirit. I thought that was probably harsh. Yeah, but to listen to you guys chat about it and say, he was probably just looking at Victor and didn't look at the leaderboards when they are ginormous. Yeah, I think he will feel.
Well,
he
did. He looked at the leaderboard on 15.
Yeah, but that's a lot.
So he would have had
16 and 17 are the 2 hardest holes of the course.
Which is exactly what we need to know, right? You're not going to make too much difference. You're going about your business until then you check out what you need to do.
I mean, funnily enough, to see that he was fighting until the very end when we were talking about his approach play, the approach shot he hit on 17 I thought was probably the best shot he hit all week. That was a phenomenal shot.
I was down by the road on that one. It was like the atmosphere was an absolute joke. Like, there's a massive grandstand behind to the right. Now all eyes are on there. As he comes around the corner, John Rama said earlier in the week, he was saying how ridiculous it was that there was 86 people from the media following Tiger's group, which he was playing behind, which we haven't even chatted about the slow play in the first round, which was freaking insane, by the way. But being out, waiting on by the 17th green, watching the whole procession come around and Rory come around the corner, and he just hit an unbelievable tee shot off of there, chatting to Graham Storm, he just said he hit this amazing high fade off the tee, which we know is not Rory's shot. Under the pressure, because if he wangs it out of bounds, his tournament's over. Pure shot down there, and then that thing was on a downslope. And as you said, James, he just hit such a good shot in there. We didn't see many make all birdie putts in that hole, but I would have loved, that would have been one of the all-time moments if he'd have held that putt down that green. He set himself up for it, and it didn't look like he hit a bad putt. It just slipped by the left edge, right?
He literally just ran it over the edge. It was probably the best putt he hit all day that didn't drop. I mean, I was sat there with my old man, and he's like a mid-handicap. He's like, I don't know why he's not just hit a little draw into this pin. I'm like, that is physically, I think, on this golf course, the closest you could have got the ball to the hole. I mean, that is literally pinpoint precision. Off a downslope, just like, ping a draw around the bunker, you old goat. What are you on about? But yeah, it was just a phenomenal shot, and yeah, he left himself. I think it was 16 feet or something on the camera, and he hit a great putt. I mean, he played that hole as perfectly as he could have without getting a birdie. But yeah, it was just a shame. I was desperate for Rory to win. It would have been an absolute Cinderella story, wouldn't it? The passing of the guard and everything. So it's probably a little bit of I wish he would have won, but I hope it doesn't dampen him. And he takes the fact he's had 3 top 5s in 4 majors this season, and and goes on and goes one further next year. His game looks so good.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking to watch it, to be honest with you. But as I said, like, kind of big props to Cam Smith, really. I mean, to like 20 under, I don't care, under the gun, under the pump, he's gone out and taken that. So Rory still had to shoot. And what's that? So Rory still had to shoot 67 to go and win that. So it's not as if he's not completely thrown it away for me, and he's not really put a foot wrong. But yeah, as you said, he didn't make a putt. When you win, you do chip in or you make a putt or something. I do concede the fact that he didn't make a putt in the last round, which he needed. I think he missed a putt on 3 from about 6 feet, and that was like
that was the one. Yeah.
And you go, right, this is mine now. When he misses that, then it's all of a sudden like, this is game on now.
It's just momentum, isn't it? Like them momentum putts you have in a round of golf. If he probably makes that one, he makes three or four more down the line, and he's got his hands in the air. But as soon as you miss a couple of them, then you just think, oh, is it one of them days? And then you miss another one. Is it one of them days? And then you get near the end, it's one of them days, But the other way around, like you say, that one goes in, he's flying. I feel like he's a massive momentum player as well, isn't he? That's why he has these seriously deep rounds in his last rounds. He just go out with birdie one of the first 2 holes, and then he's just off. He's on the birdie train.
Zed, to ask you a question, because when coaching, you always say you'll score the best when you get as close to the hole as possible. Like, you're a strong believer in not laying back to a yardage. Well, you always taught me that. Why does everyone lay it back so far of the burn on one and no one? Because you can get it about 320 down there, can't you? And just have a 25-yard chip. But everyone sort of lays it back to like 120 to 140 yards.
To be fair,
it gets tight. Yeah. The burn cuts in the right and the left. So the further you go down, if you hit it less than 263, you can't hit it out of bounds. So we saw Ian Poulter nearly hit it out of bounds on the left on day one after apparently being booed. But basically, if you hit it less than 263, you cannot hit it. You're always going to have a shot in. And then once you go past that, the burn doesn't sit straight at you. So it kind of meanders in at an angle. So then you're into the realm of, like, you could hit a good shot and it's really dry and you run 10 yards too far and you just, on a 5 yard further right line, you're fine. But on that line, you end up in the water, basically. Yeah. So, yeah, you could hit drive down by the green, but it's purely for that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm playing later, so I might just see if I can just neck out a drive down there.
Good plan.
Just do that.
Just drop something there, Zed.
Just drop something. Honestly, guys, if I'm being really honest, I could be dropping all the way through this from what I've seen this week. But I'm trying to not be too overbearing with it all.
Nah, mate. Keep it coming. It's what we love to hear, mate. That's what we love to hear.
Yeah, just some brilliant moments. But then obviously on the back of all of this, there's been a few rumours kind of flying around, which, as much as I don't want to talk about the LIV Golf Series because it's about the 150th Open Championship that we just had, you can't not. There are a couple of incidences that happened yesterday, which I thought were really ill-timed. I think Sergio pulled one out of the bag saying that he was quitting the European Tour in the middle of a final round at the Open. I just doesn't seem cool, does it, to do that? It's a bit not sure. It's a shame that the highest ever point scorer in the Ryder Cup decided to quit the European Tour, which is a huge disappointment. And then the next one later being announced of Henrik Stenson being stripped of the captaincy, of the Ryder Cup captaincy, which obviously, and that had been a chat earlier in the week that he was possibly going to the LIV Tour. That kind of cements that. It's quite a disappointing, dark day for the DP World Tour. Has anyone got any comments on that?
Do you know what surprises me with all this, the LIV chat? And I don't disagree with it, like you've heard me before say. I'm for it. It's the timing of like when people say stuff and the things they say at certain times. It's just no need for it. It just seems so sort of childish. There's just a time and a place and a way to say things for everyone to sort of get on. And I just don't understand why people are coming out like Sergio, whose European Tour has done so much for him. He's probably an honorary member, a lifetime member of the European Tour. I don't know, but
not anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But there's no need to come out and do that. It's just disrespectful, I think.
No, apparently there was a fallout in the field players a few weeks ago at the Scottish Open.
All right.
You're probably best placed for this, Zane, but are the media putting any of these players in a difficult position in terms of they've heard something, they've gone to them and said, look, we need you to either give us something or we're going to run with this? Like, is there anything like that going on, or is it just, can we put it purely and solely on the players' front door and saying, look, this is down to you and poor timing?
Well, I think the players know, they know that they can say nothing. So there's nothing to go with, and then people can speculate. There have been grilled the players this week. There was a couple of pieces about Ian Poulter earlier in the week going to the media centre, because on the first day, it all come across the media that Ian Poulter's booed on the first tee at St Andrews, and then he nearly hipped it out of bounds. And then when he got asked about it in the press centre, he was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Didn't hear it." As it turns out, from chatting to someone else in the media there, they were like, one person booed when his name was called. So you think, got all these thousands of people here, one guy boos, and it's made out as if he's been booed off the tee, which it wasn't really the case. It was just one. Probably somebody's had too many beers at 8 o'clock in the morning. And which, is completely unnecessary. So that's kind of a non-event. We were here all week. The LIV players didn't get anything that they wouldn't normally get. They got cheered, and there was warmth. It was it was a bit strange seeing Phil Mickelson go up the last. No one really cared, which I think in the past that would have been very different being an Open champion. But essentially, no one gave them a hard time. But in the press centre, they've been pushed. They've been pushed, and I think one of the comments to, I think it was Ian Poulter, was said, do you think old Tom Morris would turn in his grave if he saw what was going on in the golf day? And it's just like, what's that got to do with it?
Fair, is it?
And then it got asked again. And it seems it's just a push. What it is, it's a push to get him to snap and come out with something. He doesn't care about what he thinks about old Tom Morris. He just wants him to snap, basically, and keep pushing him. But he did bat it off, really. But yeah, it does seem a little bit, they're trying to get something out of the players, which is maybe not there. And then on top of that, there's loads of rumours flying around about who's going next. Like another very worrying rumour is that Cam Smith may go to the LIV Tour. I mean, that would be horrible if I've just won the Open Championship. It's just been the chat, so that is pure speculation at the moment. But there's a lot of people here talking about it.
Yeah,
which would be, it'd be bad.
That's massive, isn't it?
My take on it, actually, from reading all the across the socials and looking at all the different conversations and debates and stuff, is I still come back to things that we've said in previous pods, and I just don't really completely understand. Well, actually, no. My opinion is that I don't think LIV have completely worked out what it is they're trying to achieve with the tour just yet, because you've got these slightly more
with LIV.
Because I think
they're just trying to buy the tour. They're just trying to buy golf.
But you've got this group of very well accredited, golfers who've got history in the game of multiple wins and major wins and things like that, like the Sergios and Poulter's had multiple tour wins and Ryder Cup points, and all of those guys, DJ, you know. And those guys, when DJ comes out and says, yeah, I'm cool with an 8 tournament season, like I want to play less golf, I think that's what it's all about. Then you look at Paul Casey, who comes out and speaks to Barstool Golf, and he's like, I'm in a few of the WhatsApp groups, you know, I don't really get involved, but the younger guys are worried because they're not sure where they're going to get their world ranking points from, about how they're going to get into the majors. So they're probably going to go over to the Asian Tour, and they're trying to get people in WhatsApp groups to say, let's go and play in these events so we can get enough world ranking points over there so we can sustain our world ranking in order to be able to play in the other events. Now, that's a younger player who's actually not getting into the tour to play 8 tournaments a season, right? That's someone who wants the royalties of the LIV Tour and is happy to play a nearer fuller schedule so they get the benefits of all the world ranking points as well as they can play the majors and the other big events. Obviously, we lost the WGCs now. So I don't think everyone's doing it for the same reason. They're not all moving towards a tour with the same sort of methodology or alignment that other people are doing it. So you've got these complete breaks all over the place. It just feels like a proper mess now. And all the media attention around it's just doing nothing for the game of golf, for us all trying to do what we want to do, which is get more people to play the game. It's just a big buffet of mess now, you know. And the last couple of weeks have actually discarded golf as a sport more so now than any one of the 3 tours, you know, and I just think that's a real shame. No one really knows what's going on or what they're doing, or, you know, and the allure of kind of quick financial opportunities is now being misplaced with what it's actually doing to golf in a whole. And in the week of the 150th Open, which just should have been such a romantic moment for the sport, I just think it's a real shame.
To be honest, until the Sergio thing yesterday, it was all going quite well. It was very much about the 150th Open, and it was bombing along really nicely, and then somehow it just kind of reared its head kind of a little bit at the wrong time. And then
I would agree with that.
Rory didn't win, which was really annoying. We were really done with him getting up and in his speech, giving it to Greg Norman again, couldn't we, like I did a few weeks ago?
But there was this whole thing on Saturday about, like, you know, if you're pro-LIV or you're anti-PGA Tour, wear green. You know, that was a whole thing that went out. Was there any truth behind that? There were a lot of people wearing green polo shirts and stuff like that. You know, is there anything behind that? People are looking out for people that are wearing green that aren't signed up to LIV.
Yeah, DJ and Westwood were wearing the same. DJ Westwood, Neiman, someone else, all wearing the really similar. It was the same kind of dark green. It wasn't just green. It was a bit odd.
Yeah.
Patrick Reed was bobbing around in the LIV golf hat. He literally does not care, does he?
No.
Just a side note, that Adidas dark green that they wore this week was absolutely pure. As a colourway and a styling, that DJ, was on the money.
DJ did look pretty slick, didn't he?
Mark, I think you're a man close to my heart about Pantones. I think we call that a British racing green as well.
It's got to be close. Yeah, it's got to be close. But yeah, they did look mega.
To be fair, of all the play I saw this week, and to be fair, I didn't see too much because I was still trying to get over the best party in town with JL. But DJ's. I saw him hit a 3-wood, and the noise of it was just incredible. Like, honestly, it was a disgrace. How the noise of it and the speed of the ball going past you was like, it was impressive. And he's a big guy, isn't he?
Well, definitely on that. Obviously, I followed him yesterday, and he was playing with Tommy Fleetwood, which is quite funny, isn't it? Because Tommy's quite diminutive, isn't he? He's quite small, walks with his little like hunched shoulders, head down. And then you got DJ, who's the complete opposite, like the jock, got his massive, like, kind of pecs, big wide pecs, shoulders back. Eye line is always up the whole time, which is, by the way, keeping your eye line above level or above is a good way to affect your mood on the golf course. Anyone who wants a little tip, if they have head-offs a lot, James.
James,
so keep your eye line up. But he does that. He just bowls around. And I agree with you, like, having followed him last year, then getting to follow him this year. I mean, when the last groups came out, and they were like, Zane, you and Kat are going to go follow DJ and Fleetwood, and then circle back later for the final hole. It was a bit like, I would have preferred like one of the last 2 groups, really. But the other side was 2 great guys to go and follow and get to see DJ close up. And he obviously, he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Chat to Claude Harmon halfway through the week, and he just said, like, yeah, he's just back hitting it how he should be. And he just literally had it on a piece of string all day yesterday and made nothing. To be honest, he honestly, you know, when you see it, you know, when like you play around the golf and you shoot like a couple over and you're trying to explain to your dad later on, he just didn't happy. Your dad's like, what? Why did you make bogey at that par 4? It was only 370. You're like, yeah, but that's not how it played out. He could have contended yesterday. He was that good. He missed like everything.
He did miss a lot of putts, didn't he? On the Saturday as well.
Come back to that on the Saturday, he did top it off 18.
No. Oh yeah, he did.
With the 3-wood.
And it just got over the burn, didn't it? Over the little bridge thing. Oh what? Yeah, he did. I saw that.
It apparently nearly hit the bridge.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. And it rolled.
Wish would have been pure ban, like knifing one into the bridge and watched it bounce out of bounds. That would have been a proper story. Don't really need this. He putted it over the green on 14 on the third round. Yeah. He was kind of in the mix. And again, the chat to Graham Storm, he said he just looked like he tapped out then. 3 or 4 holes, he couldn't be bothered.
He missed the 3-footer on the hole before, didn't he?
Yeah, tops off 18, got away with birdie. But you just think, is that the hangover of having 150 mil in your bank account?
But I think that's DJ's demeanour for a large part of his recent success. He's been able to do that for a number of years and walk around like he's...
but not give up.
Did he give up? Still shot 3 under.
Graham's, precise. But you're talking about in the third round. In the third round, we did that.
Yeah.
He said Stormy's he's a good player. Stormy's won in South Africa, beat Rory down the stretch. He won the French Open. Been on tour for years and years. He, you know, this isn't just like a random golfer who just meant to come to an event to have a look. It's someone who knows the ins and outs, what it's been like. And he was like Zane, just looked like he just tapped out. He putted it over the green on 14. He just tapped out. And that's the bit of live golf which just kind of sucks. In that it doesn't really matter whether you play well or not. Does that get into your mind? Which Tiger never had, did he? Tiger would be in 45th place. And he'd get up at 4:30 to go and do his workout to prepare for his round. You know, is that the difference?
Yeah, for sure. Especially when it's like you say for them middle spots, like whether you're going to come 7th or 15th in a live event, that bit of dough, the difference of the dough, is it really going to matter to them? Nah. You're not trying for it.
I don't think it mattered to any of the top 20 though. They were like largely the top 20 players in the world. There wasn't anyone in there who's got a bit of a Cinderella bank check this week compared to what they've earned on tour from this time. He was 10 under through 3 rounds, and Rory and Victor were 16. He probably just thought he couldn't catch him. I think some of his interviews are kind of worse than the golf he's played. I think, he's just scolded, hasn't he? Off 18, got away with it, stepped up to it like he does, and just kind of made birdie still. It's like, well, I still made birdie. That's how he would react, isn't it? He's just got that demeanour about him. But yeah, I don't know. It was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit strange.
Still the best ball striker I've ever seen, though. 100%.
Absolute stripe show.
But I think we should round off the Open Championship chat with just giving massive big ups to Cam Smith. Like, as Mark said, the brand of golf that he plays. As James says, the putts he hold, and then as Josh would attest, the short game prowess around the greens. Just probably Shane Lowry is the only other person who can touch him on that front. So we'll just give a little quick roundup, really. So this week also for us, we posted our first on-course vlog of our links, kind of a bit of a links edition, coinciding with the Open Championship that we filmed at Prince's Golf Club, the lovely Prince's Golf Club. We went and played 9 holes of our game, of which we're going to continue to do a series of cat and mouse, where you basically take your handicap and it's a stroke play event really, and you have to make decisions around that. So if you're a 10 handicap, you start on -10, 10 under par, and you've got to nurse that back to 0 basically. And don't get ahead of yourself. For myself or for Josh, we're a +5, so we start on 5 over par, and we're now under the pressure that we should be to get it back. So we're going to have that series coming out. We're going to drop a few of those for the rest of this year, probably. But actually, I'm not going to commit to any numbers because we've had some interesting editing chats and journey with that. But we got there in the end. I think the first one came out really well. James and Nige and Wayne Boy B Unit, some of the founders putting a lot of time on that, which is really cool. But yeah, it was cool filming it with you guys. How did you boys feel like it went, and what did it look like when you first got the first edit back?
I loved it.
James, go on. Let James go.
James.
He's put all all the hours into this, as he keeps letting us know he hasn't slept for about 10 days now.
Yeah, I think I had about 14 dominoes last week. Yeah, no, it was great. Obviously, we've got an extremely talented videographer in James Sparks, who's worked in some of the mini tour stuff, and I definitely think he deserves a shout out. He, just with all the footage that he was able to capture on the day, drone footage, various angles, he made it a lot easier for us. I think it was very captivating being a player, and then being able to transition that into film was great. I mean, it's very easy with a landscape like Prince's to make a video look good, even with my
on a good day as well.
Yeah, slightly 4 out of 10 game with you two boys striping it. So, no, look, I think it's come out great.
Mate, I think the main improvement that would come from you on all this, having played in front of the camera a little bit, is even if you hit a slightly off shot, just hold your finish for a bit longer. The drop in the club and whatever, I feel like that's going to be a revelation as this series goes on.
Tell me you guys saw the Patrick Cantlay clip where he was hitting it out the rough this week at the Open, and he sort of off balance, and then he flicks his heel up.
A little fake foot.
Oh my God, that went viral. I'm pretty sure that went viral. That was epic. Sorry.
If you could send that to James, that would help in his, some of his training going forward.
Send that to me. Flip it around the other way. I'll perfect that one. I mean, I like a flick and a skip anyway, so I'm down for that.
That was so good.
If anybody's been watching the series, just one thing to point out: I tend to have a bit of a foot slide, but James is very well known for when he hits a good drive or tee shot, has like a little skip as he picks up the tee, which is much to the delight of Josh White.
Annoyingly, I don't even know that happens now, so it's just there. I think.
Mate, just keep hitting good shots.
Keep hitting good shots, yeah. But no, look, it was great. I think there's a lot more to come from us. I think we've battled for hours on end to try and master shot tracer technology now with our editing team. So we've got that coming for the viewers in weeks to come. So it was great, and many more to come across this extremely hot summer. We've got 40 degrees down here in the den now, so not baking.
Yeah. Do you know what? For me, watching back, it just made me realise how much fun we actually have on the golf course. Like, we're always just joking, bantering and whatever else, and made you realise that we're actually lucky to actually go out and do this, which is pretty cool.
I feel like you look really good.
I feel like we're having fun, Josh.
Yeah.
James hasn't grasped that bit yet.
Still looking at his clubs as if it's their fault.
Yeah, a bit like your chip shot from a good lie on the last that cost you the event, but nothing.
Spoiler alert.
No, did it though? Did it?
Didn't it?
Terrible. That was a real Cam Smith decision there, wasn't it? It was like, come on. What's he done there? He's gone a fancy route.
He's looking at the 4-iron or the 5-wood. It's like, just use the 58, mate.
Yeah, there he is, giving it all the chat. Listen to this guy.
Handing it out.
I can't wait for these to carry on.
No, and then we've got some more stuff coming out
next week. You got the silver trophy next week, James.
Yeah, I had a really good practice session Friday actually with Keith Pelly and his son watching on. So I don't know what they were doing at Wentworth, but
they're checking you out to make sure you don't go to the LIV.
Yeah, exactly. I wore green as well, so I have some of that. Yeah, it's coming along nicely. We've got some really cool tips videos coming out. I think we've got our next cat and mouse adventure to Z takes us to another part of South England on the 26th, I think. So, yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know about that. We'll look forward to it.
Okay.
No, we've got loads coming. It's good. And also we've got a chat with Mark coming out. Mark got to caddy in the group with Tiger Woods at the JP McMahon's Pro-Am, and he treated us to a little reel. We got plenty of airtime on Sky Sports, which was really cool to see. So we're going to get some little insights into that. We may do a mini video pod for that one, but we'll drop that later this week, which will be really cool. But anyway, guys, I've actually got to run because I've got a tea time on the old. So,
boy.
Absolutely love chatting to you boys, and look forward to doing it all again soon.
Well, for anyone who wants to check it out, remember we are at Bear Tiger Club on Instagram, Twitter, beartiger.io on the web, Bear Tiger Club on YouTube, Bear Tiger Club here, Bear Tiger Club there. You can email Zane at Bear Tiger Club, just Bear Tiger Club, basically.
It was pretty cool. That's not my email, so cheers, pal. Right, so that was a lovely little close there. So yeah, everyone have a really great week, and we'll catch up with everybody very, very soon.
I hope you have a great time at the old course.
Have a great time, mate. Enjoy, legends. Enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Laters.
I'll be sticking up on Instagram. No problems.
Good man.
Good luck. Cheers, boys.
See ya. Bye.